South Central Los Angeles. Over the last year, images of the Rodney King beating and stores being burned and looted have been seared into the American psyche. But what lies beneath those images? What is daily life like in this community, and what does it mean to grow up here? We've talked with several young people from various backgrounds to get their take on life in LA and what they believe the future holds for this city.
We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Stacy C. Kuhn, not guilty of the crime of assault by force likely to produce great bodily injury and with a deadly weapon.
When the verdict came down, me and my homies were standing right over here at the liquor store, and we heard the verdict and we all got upset. So we had to take out our anger by showing that we wasn't going to take no more of the white man and the policeman, you know, beating on brothers.
It was very scary. There were a lot of people on the streets making gestures towards us. The group just started surrounding us, and somehow we all just formed a line, tried to get ourselves organized, but there was just too many of them. They're throwing things at us, yelling, screaming, jumping up in our faces, and there's really nothing we could do. My partner and I looked at each other like, I'm wearing this uniform, but, you know, it doesn't mean that I agree with what happened.
Police wouldn't stop what was going on because they was afraid. So we all formed up and just took our anger out on Koreans, Mexicans, whites, you know, anything that wasn't black that passed through this way. Everybody started, you know, came over here, started tearing up this gas station right here. And then as white people were driving through, there were people, you know, throwing rocks and grabbing white and Mexicans out the car, you know, throwing them on the ground and just taking their anger out on them.
First thing that comes to your mind when you watch such a riot, you know, unfold before your eyes, I mean, you tell yourself this isn't happening, but at the same time, it's real. Felt anger. Anger was the biggest thing, then loss of hope and fear. Fear came to my mind.
There's Koreans on that mother anyway. Koreans on that mother.
I'll never forget on that first day of the riots, I was watching it just unfold on TV. I think I was watching some program where there were a couple of gangbangers. They were basically saying it didn't matter who you were, if you were white and you were driving through Florence and Normandy at the time that the verdict was released, we would have pulled you out and we would have did a job on you. And I remember thinking to myself, that could have easily been me. It didn't matter to people if you were a teacher. It didn't matter what your intentions were. It was purely, you're white. You're a symbol of this. You're a symbol of what we've been struggling against. And they got one of ours, well, we're going to get one of yours.
That's how Rodney King felt, white boy.
I felt really sorry for Reginald Denny because it's not right to hurt anyone. I felt that it was wrong, you know. It was just as wrong as Rodney King being beat. You see, there was no difference.
Prejudice hurts. 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 Prejudice hurts.
You know, my people we had to release anger some kind of way, and protesting was not going to do it. You see, we had been slapped in the face, turn the other cheek, you had been slapped there, and so this is what we were dealing with.
Ain't no nonviolent movement going on in 1992.
Why is it that, you know, we get the media attention when we're acting out? It makes me kind of afraid, you know, for me and my community, that I think that there's messages that are saying that the only way that things may change is when we act violently, and I hope that that's not a solution.
Without a doubt, the violence in the South Central section of Los Angeles last spring has forced many of us to take a second look at America's inner cities. But what do we really see? Do we see the work of a bunch of common criminals and troublemakers? or do we see a desperate expression of anguish and despair? For the next hour, we'll meet some young people who grew up in South Central and nearby neighborhoods and see through their eyes, straight from the hood.
So just, let's lay the record straight. South Central Los Angeles is not the ghetto. It's just not like that. There's sun, there's trees, there's beautiful streets, there's beautiful homes. But then, ghetto in a large sense in Los Angeles is more of like a state of mind, If you ghetto in your mind, then you do live in the ghetto.
South Central is just a poor community. It's not a black community. It's a poor community. It's a community where if you only got $300 a month, you're gonna move there because that's what the rent is. So it's an economical prison.
It wasn't always that way in South Central. Wartime jobs in automotive plants brought large numbers of Southern blacks to the region in the early 40s. But in the 60s, many of the plants left the area in search of cheaper labor. And as South Central's economy went down, frustrations went up. A police brutality incident lit the fuse, and those frustrations exploded into the infamous Watts riots of 1965. Ironically, many of the problems that triggered the Watts riots also triggered the South Central riots of 1992. Poverty, unemployment, perceived injustice, and, once again, police brutality.
The police coming straight from the underground. A young nigga got it bad 'cause I'm brown. And not the other color, so police think they have the authority to kill a minority.
Rap artists such as NWA and Ice-T had long been making records which protested police brutality in the hood. Then, in March of 1991, seemingly indisputable evidence emerged. An amateur video cameraman filmed several policemen as they savagely beat motorist Rodney King.
Is it true that you were totally shocked by the reaction to the tape? I mean, nothing in your mind was kind of looked vicious or weird about that?
No, that's the way that LA has been doing police work for 10 years.
In any black community or any ethnic diverse community, it's like a police state. It doesn't matter. It's you, me, anybody. You just, you're treated like cattle. You're treated like you're non-human, a non-entity.
They always think negative about us. We can't just be having, a couple of drinks on the weekend. When the cops pass by, right away we're doing something wrong. So they don't get up, hi, how you guys doing? Right away they swoop up on us and put your hands where we could see them, and they're pulling out their guns and get your hands against the car. It's just harassment.
A second videotape circulated only 13 days after the King beating. A surveillance camera in a grocery store caught the fatal shooting of a 15-year-old black girl named Latasha Harless by grocer Soon Ja-do, a Korean immigrant. The incident was sparked by a quarrel over a container of orange juice, and Harless died clutching a $1.79 payment in her hand. Soon Ja-do was later sentenced to 5 years probation.
I would like for you, the black community, to see once again, you can have a black person killed with a video with eyewitnesses, and this is what you'll get.
Black people are fed up with the way that we're looked on in society. A black 13-year-old girl got shot in the back of the head, and a good lawyer and a good story got her off, If a black woman killed a little white kid or a little Chinese kid or whatever, Oriental kid, no way in the world they would get off. No way. They would get hung.
Are there two systems of justice? Is there a form of justice for blacks, and is there a form of justice for whites? I don't know, I'm starting to think that myself.
In the end, the 1992 riots were the most costly episode of civil disorder in United States history. In addition to an estimated $1 billion in damage, over 8,000 people of many different races were arrested on charges ranging from theft to murder. In all, 52 people lost their lives, and over 2,000 were injured. However, assessing the riots means more than just looking at statistics. It means looking at ourselves and listening to our neighbors, which we'll do when Straight from the Hood continues. In Los Angeles County, there are 950 different gangs with an estimated 100,000 active gang members who were responsible for nearly 700 gang-related deaths in 1990. We talked to two former gangbangers, a young man who left gang life for the world of record producing, and his mentor, a man who was there at the start of the notorious Crips and is now working to stop the violence, Michael Concepcion.
I'm one of the guys, the original founders of the Crips. You know, it was another guy that started the Crips, but I'm one of the original. He's no longer here, God bless his soul, you know.
What was his name?
Raymond Washington. There was some white guys called themselves the Chips, and every time a black guy go out to Torrance, they turn around and start beating black guys up. So, you know, me and some friends of mine started a gang, and we just went over there and started beating up a bunch of white boys and stuff, and somehow, man, we just started beating up our own people, man, you know. What's up, Junior? How's the hood?
Oh, man.
Same to me, you know what I'm saying? We just all consider ourselves family. It's basically a neighborhood thing.
Give me an specific.
You know, not letting nobody come into our neighborhood thinking they can do whatever they want to do in my neighborhood. This is the house where all of us used to hang out at. It used to be 100 Crips at this one house. Our intention was to enjoy life and have fun, but, you know, somehow Crips came from crippling people. Color. Then guys started calling themselves Bloods, and that's when the red rag and the blue rag started appearing and stuff, and guys just started saying the Bloods don't like Crips, Crips don't like Bloods, and this stuff just got real confusing and mixed up.
And I'm willing to die for my colors.
I'm in a wheelchair now, you know what I mean? Wino shot me. I was a gambler, and I won all the money. And the wino asked me for his money back because he thought I was cheating and shot me. But I guess he too much wasn't a wino because he was really accurate with his shooting. To be honest with you, I think that this is probably the best thing that could ever happen to Mike Concepcion. You know, it's me get shot, put in a wheelchair, you know, because I didn't have a heart. I just didn't care about nothing. That's why kids need to know that it's really important, man, to think about what they're doing, because you don't know who you're hurting, man.
Gang violence needs to be wiped out.
I always wanted to do something for the community, you know, to give back. The original idea on We All in the Same Gang was to make kids understand and realize what they're doing by gangbanging is they're not doing nothing but destroying themselves and hurting somebody.
We got together not for ego or fame. We got involved because we're all in the same gang.
When I did the All in the Same Gang, I said that I'm gonna go to the rappers.
We got a personal call from Mr. Mike Concepcion himself.
My man Mike Concepcion, you know, he's a guy that kind of put all this together. He asked me to come down.
I came here because Mike is my buddy, you know, he's trying to start his own little thing, so we was helping him all we can.
That was the whole idea of We're All in the Same Gang, hoping that it can reach some little kids and let them know that, hey man, it's time to do the right thing. Let's go on and try to make it in life.
Is that realistic? You think that's really going to happen out here?
Yeah, it can happen with the right person, and I am the right person.
What's up, Big Mike? What's up, Mike? What's up, baby?
My young, great producer, Meeks, you know, I remember when he first came to my house, he just started bringing a lot of music, man, and it's been on ever since, man, and you know, his whole personality changed, man. Looked like a new man, you know? I mean, you know, compared to where he was.
I will always be right there. I will always be right there.
My name is Demetrius Antoine Ship, and I'm 19. They call me Meeks.
For a kid like this, you have to really handle him like this.
I come from a good family. Both of my parents are church-going people and God-fearing people. My childhood was pretty wild. I grew up in a pretty wild neighborhood where the gang thing was pretty much, you know, in effect. I started getting involved in gangs as early as probably like the 5th or 6th grade.
What up, man? All right, man. What's up?
People outside of Los Angeles and outside of the inner cities, they automatically think that are being affiliated with a gang is the stupidest thing they ever heard in their life. They don't know what it's like to be on your way to a movie, you and your buddy, and 6 guys jump out the car and beat you down like you a grown man, you know. Dudes older than you know, that happened to me and my buddies, you know. So they don't understand that because in their neighborhood, when they go to the movies, they go to the movies.
Cause I'm a product of the environment.
Although my family and stuff was positive, after I walked out of that house, I was in a war zone. I was around about 8 years old. You know, we used to come home every day from school and play football in the streets. You know, all the brothers be, a lot of us out there, you know, just playing football. This one particular day, we out there playing. Car hit the corner, you know, screech and brace. One of the dudes pull out a gun, everybody start running. You know, they start firing shots, and, you know, I see one of my older homeboys just like, you know, hit the ground. Next thing I know, you know, he dead, you know, and we going to a funeral. Watched a lot of my buddies, older buddies die and get killed. You know, like a hatred just grew. Even more and more, you know, my set just started being my whole life. And it was like that revenge was for me to take on and to keep carrying it on. You know, I done watched my homeboy die, so now it's like I'm in this for life. You know, I hate everybody else. You know, I'm a Crip and that's what I am.
Take a little time to think about your dead home.
About the 7th or 8th grade is when I got my first strap, you know, gun, you know, and once I started gaining that kind of respect, I had to let that respect grow and grow and grow. I couldn't just be known for carrying no gun. I had to be known for being able to take somebody out, you know, if I had to, real quick without, you know, hesitation. I wanted people to know when they see me, you might lose your life if you ain't from my hood. You better respect me when you see me, because I will blast. And that's what I did. Every time I got a chance to, I was pulling the trigger. One particular night, I was getting ready to check in night school and got into it with these brothers, and I had just got fed up with the confrontations, you know. My whole state of mind now was that I'm a killer. They was yelling out, "What's up, blood?" You know, "What's up, blood?" You know. I'm like, "It's cool. What's up, cuz?" Bye. I ended up getting locked up for it. When I was locked up, for the first time, I realized that my so-called enemy, bloods, were people too, you know. Young brother's 13, hard in the daytime and crying at night, you know, because he behind that steel door. Before I got locked up, I had got my girlfriend pregnant. When my girl went to the hospital, they called. I was there in the room when my son was born. It was like, damn, you know, I ain't just living for me now. You know what I'm saying? Now I got somebody that's looking for me. If I don't make it, then who he gonna have? That's what woke me up. I was like, now I got somebody I gotta take care of, I gotta look out for, I gotta protect. Not no set, not my homeboy, somebody I just grew up with, but my own child.
Be a father to your child.
In jail, I started writing songs because I was already into music and stuff like that. And that's what my whole main focus was. When I get home, you know, I'm gonna try to get at this music.
Let me hear you play. Let me hear you play.
One thing about Mike, he was a key person in keeping me from slipping back. You know, he like, man, stay about the music, man. Be about the music. You know, you can win. We can win, man.
One gang, yes, I think. Coming with the bomb, the streets way.
I never in my life imagined that I could be doing this and living like I'm living and having the things that I'm having, meeting and working with the people that I'm working with.
Peace. We out.
We did a lot of low stuff, you know. I did a lot of low stuff, you know, from 68 to 85, and he did a lot of stuff in the 80s. And we both feel guilty about it, and we want to try to do something to straighten out the problem that we had with our community at one time for us, you know, damaging it.
When Straight from the Hood returns, we'll meet one young man who fought to avoid gang life, and others who are helping kids cope with life in the hood. If education is the key to the future, what educational opportunities are available for young people in this community? We spoke to 3 young teachers from very different backgrounds. Ellis, a scholarship athlete, Kim, a resident of the affluent Baldwin Hills section of South Central, and Daryl, a newcomer to the hood.
My name is Daryl Barker. I'm 24 years old, and I'm a 4th and 5th grade elementary school teacher at 52nd Street Elementary School in South Central Los Angeles. During my senior year at Yale, I decided pretty seriously that I wanted to do some public service, and I applied for this new program that was starting up at the time called Teach for America. When I got accepted into the program, they pretty much placed me where they needed me.
Good morning, class.
Good morning, Mr. Barker.
Hello. The kind of children I teach here are predominantly African-American children and Latino children. There are no white children here. I'm the only white boy here.
Free your mind.
I had people telling me that you simply cannot be a good teacher because you are white. And that was a painful thing to go through. I took it personally, but I feel that 2 years later now, in retrospect, I've been able to overcome that.
We're going to work more with our anger sticks today.
I haven't forgotten the differences. I realize full well that my experience growing up is somewhat different from the children and their experiences here.
How's it like living here? Julia?
Well, sometimes I'm unfair, and sometimes it's all right.
What do you mean unfair? What kinds of things are unfair?
I think the Rodney King beating.
Okay, the King beating.
I'm still searching for ways to deal with racism and how to present racism in the classroom.
Maria, here's 5, 10, 15, $15, and here's $1 for you. Thanks a lot.
Finding the way to do that is very difficult, and it requires a tremendous amount of creativity, but it needs to be dealt with by responsible teachers. I'm a realistic person, and I really don't want to present just a beautiful picture of this country.
The world is a mixing cup. Just look what happens when you stir it up.
I don't want to just say, well, you know, just do this and things will be fine. And when the truth is, things won't always be fine. And I think at the age that I teach, which is about 10, 11 years old, I think it's time for the kids to start understanding, you know, what obstacles are out there and what they're going to have to face. On every corner, you'll see liquor store. Be liquor store, church, liquor store, church, liquor store. As far as its impact and its effect on the children, it can't be good. When it's so prevalent, it becomes normal. And if the kids see that constantly, then it's like, well, it's normal. It's normal to drink out of a paper bag, you know, at 2 in the afternoon. I think the gang life in this community has a pretty powerful force on the children at the school.
Has anyone ever been asked to join a gang?
There are times when I feel that I simply can't compete with the gang life, and those are the more depressing days.
What happened, David?
This boy named Reginald, I know, he said something. Do I want to be from OBS? I said no.
The reason that they join gangs is because a lot of times the peer pressure is very strong. I did have peer pressure, you know, in school, especially in the public schools. You know, you had peer pressure, but it was just, you know, I made it up in my mind that that's not what I wanted to be a part of. I didn't have time to get involved with them. I went to school and I was always into sports. In the area that I grew up in, the guys that did not, you know, get involved in gangs, it was because of sports, because you use your time constructively and it pays off that way. Whereas now, all these things where I grew up at, they're cut. They are no more. And since then, you know, the gang problem has escalated.
Hold it now!
There's no places for you to go to do anything positive, so the negativity is what takes over. I was lucky that I got a scholarship, you know, to a major university. And after my time at San Diego State, I came back to South Central, where I started teaching, and my neighborhood had totally changed. I mean, you know, there was crack on the street at that time. It had torn people's lives apart. It really had shaken up our community. And so what I want to do is stay here and work and help the other kids that are coming up, because times are real tough now, and there are a lot of other things that are out there for kids to get into as opposed to when I was growing up.
What happens is, as a young kid, and it doesn't really matter where you are, what you see is what you model yourself after. And for instance, in lower economic areas where kids see drug dealers or fast money and their only alternative vision is a television, what kind of choice is that?
Why are you always talking about leaving? If you just be patient, I'll be gone soon, and all this will be yours.
As far as looking for black role models on TV when I was a kid, the characters that they showed weren't real to me. You enjoyed it, you know, just to see a black face. I think that we accepted it because it was just another black face. But the images were always of black people with no education or struggling and hustling, trying to make a living for themselves.
Well, baby, I got till 5 o'clock to get us $72. I don't know but one way to get it.
James, don't you dare go into that closet.
What's he gonna do, Mama?
He's getting his pool cue. Dynamite!
You laughed at it, you enjoyed it, but it wasn't realistic. You know, and a lot of people think that all black people live that type of lifestyle, and we don't. In the neighborhood that I grew up in, you could see, you know, what would happen if you succeeded. Because I live in a neighborhood where there are doctors and lawyers. You see Mercedes-Benz driving up. You could talk to people. It was a physical type thing. It was really inspirational for me to keep me going, because I said when I was younger, I want to achieve these things. These are the things that I want for myself. And they would tell me that the key to get all of these things were education. So I said, if this is how you get it, you know, I'm going to believe in these models of stay in school.
You got to live and learn.
As a black teacher, I bring a positive reflection to the classroom that kids can see themselves. Kids need, like I said, something to model themselves after, and they use me to say, well, if I don't have a model at home and if I don't have a model in the street, then can you be my model? Like, how do you apply for college?
Yeah.
Okay, well.
I sincerely believe that we need more black role models as teachers, more black teachers. The kids need to see more of that. Unfortunately, the situation here in Los Angeles isn't too good for teachers. We suffered a 3% pay cut last year. We're going to be having another 9% pay cut this year.
Every year, you know, you have funds for schools cut. And this is what, you know, keeps our kids out of gangs. So why cut that? You know, cut somewhere else. You know, don't take from the schools. It doesn't make sense.
Hey, tomorrow, people, where is your best?
As important as education may be to young people in these communities, sometimes it's not enough. We'll find out why when we return. Koreatown, Los Angeles. During the riot last year, the media focused a great deal of attention on black-Korean relations and what seemed to be a lot of pent-up anger vented on this immigrant community. We talked to one young Korean American who has recently been forced to take a second look at his adopted country.
My name is Raphael Hong, and I'm 24, and I was born in Seoul, Korea. I came when I was 10. The educational cost in Korea is very expensive, and the political situation wasn't so hot either, and the economic situation wasn't that good either. So my parents thought it'd be a good idea to come to the United States and raise us here so that we can go through school and stuff here. We'll have a better chance of, you know, making it here.
Let me take you to a place I know you wanna go. It's a good life. Hey, yeah.
Young baby, you know. In the beginning, I got in fights every day. They started calling me names and stuff, and, you know, little kids do, you know, little things without understanding what's going on. And lot of racial stuff was going by, and so I used to fight all the time. For a while, I was really resenting that my parents brought me to this country where I didn't know nobody. I had to go through all this hard stuff. Here, it changes 8 cents as your receipt. My parents, they didn't own the business all throughout their life. My dad had to work, 10 years working at a body shop as a, laborer. He was actually doing body work on the cars. My mom worked at an assembly line putting together microchips. They didn't really have that much to really save. So, but they'd saved enough and they'd borrowed it from my relatives, friends, but not financial institutions. And 이게 two type, yung positive, negative, 한 군데 붙어 있어 이게. Store symbolized for my parents, especially, that the dream, American dream of, being successful. And, that store provided for my college tuition, and it provided for the house, and, we don't have much, but still we're surviving.
하고 없어, 20군데. 비디오 없어, 20군데.
My parents owned the business, South Central, Broadway in Manchester. That night or whatever, I was watching TV in my apartment, and basically we saw our store, it was getting looted and stuff, and it totally, I felt like, I don't know, it was shock. And then a little later, I saw the news again, like 3 or 4 hours later, and it was burning. And then right there, I don't know, it hit my parents really hard emotionally.
I don't ever wanna feel like I did that day. Take me to the place I love. Take me all the way. I don't ever wanna feel like I did that day. Take me to the place I love. Take me all the way.
And we always had like annual Thanksgiving barbecues and stuff. We invite all the community people to come in. Maybe that's just a token gesture or whatever, but still, there was an effort for people to go out there. 14 to 15 years of work, it just went one night, it was just gone. My dad came out of there with $36 in the bank account. Basically, I guess he just don't see America the same way as before. And there was a sign, I think, during the demonstrations stuff after the riots. One of the signs said that we thought America was #1 and we were so wrong. And, that kind of, at the time, with the emotional stress that they were feeling, I think that really summed up what they really felt at the time. They're building things back up now, those angers kind of went away a little bit, but at the same time, they still have a very skeptical view now, more cynical view about what the system is like here.
Keep the faith. Keep the faith. Lord, we've gotta keep the faith.
So we have to go through the SBA, Small Business Administration. We have to apply to them through the disaster aid, whatever. So we applied for that, and we got a loan. So we looked around all over South Central area, because we kind of really, even if we wanted to leave, we really can't. Because we had no, we can't really afford it anywhere else. Most of the swap meets were all burnt down or closed, so we couldn't do that. We finally found one through our friend who, referred us to a swap meet in Fontana. We'll beat any price that you find. I graduated from UCLA, and I'm supposed to get a job and start working as a professional. That's what the whole education thing was about. Now we have to put our house as collateral for the loans. So if our business don't go well, then we can, lose our house and stuff. So we have to make sure that our business is stable. Yeah, it's a phone, but it has like the little desk thing on here. You can write. It has a little lamp light. So, with the college degree, I'm now working in a store. So, I might as well not even go to college and just, start working when I got out of high school. So that's another thing I think is a breakdown of the American dream. Education's supposed to lead you somewhere, but kind of go back, getting the same thing that your parents are doing. Thank you very much, sir. I don't think it was African Americans' fault that this happened. It's just a socioeconomic condition, and unless we start working to change that, things like this gonna happen all over again.
In another ethnic center of Los Angeles, another new generation is tackling the problems that they've inherited. In the predominantly Chicano East LA, young people face unemployment, poverty, and a 65-year history of gangs. We talked to one young woman, a third-generation gang member, who is trying to break out of the cycle of gang violence in her neighborhood of Little Valley.
Yeah,
This is for the raza.
My name is Yvette Marie Ramirez. I'm 18 years old and I live in East Los Angeles. Growing up in East LA, it's not like growing up, like, say, in Beverly Hills or anything like that, because it's harder for everybody. Gracias. Okay. My mother was pregnant with me when she was 17 years old. My father was involved in gangs at a very young age. He was trying to make a change in his life, even though, he was only 16 years old, but, I was only 3 weeks old when he passed away. He was working when he got killed. Somebody passed by while he was working and just started shooting, and my dad got shot in the head. He passed away. This is my mom and her homegirls, the older generation. They're called veteranos. My mother was from the gang. My father was from it, and, like, my uncles and everybody like that. So it's just like, for some people, they have to fight to get into the gang. It's just like I was born into it, you could say that. I was born into the gang.
It's a knee size.
Sometimes it was like a regular childhood, like just going out and playing and not having to worry about anything. But at other times, we couldn't even go outside because, there would be people passing by, and my mom was afraid that things were gonna happen to us,
Gang shootings, it's an everyday thing here, My kids go to the store, I gotta worry about where they're gonna get killed, or get in a situation where they're gonna have to kill somebody to protect themselves. So I don't bang, I've gave it up a long time ago, but when I see anybody coming into this street and it jeopardizes my kid's right to play or my kid's right to walk, then it involves me. Then I use all my gangbang experience or knowledge or whatever it takes to get you off my street.
Sunday night, we were inside the house, we heard gunshots, and somebody came out of the alley, and then we ran over there and we looked, and he was shot. It's been violent last month, September. There's a few gangs that we do get along with, but then there's the other ones that we don't get along with. We can't even walk through their neighborhood because if they see us coming, either they're gonna chase us out of there or we're gonna end up dying in their neighborhood.
There goes the neighborhood!
At first, when I was in it, it was just like, I didn't care. I wanted to go out there and, if I seen somebody that we didn't get along with, I wanted to beat them up. I didn't care, I just wanted to show them, that don't mess with me, don't mess with my gang, because if you do, this is what you're gonna have to, deal with. That's how I was at first. Then I started realizing after my friends from my gang started dying, and they were so close to me, when they would die, it was like, all for what? For the gang, for the name, and I don't think it's worth it.
I try to get by, and I ain't gone under yet. No.
My younger brother, his name is Raymond. He started off young too. He started getting arrested for like stealing cars and stuff like that. Then he just got deeper into it, and he got caught with a gun one day, and now he's in jail. He's doing 6 years in California Youth Authority. Now, in a way, I'm sad because he's not with us, but in a way, I'm glad because there's a lot of stuff that's going on out there, and I know the way he is, and I know he'll be all caught up in it, so I'm kind of, in a way, I'm glad. I know he's here and he's safe, that nothing's going to happen to him.
Did you get my letter?
No.
I wrote you. I sent a letter from Marissa.
I tell him, you should have listened to me, you should have listened to my mother, and he says, I know, but, it's too late now. You remember all this, Dad, walking through here? Flashbacks?
My parole consideration date is November, I don't know what day. They ask you if you're ready for society. That's what I gotta work on right now, if I'm ready for society. And that's what I'm kind of nervous about because I don't know what I'm gonna do when I get back in the streets. It's kind of hard. I don't want to come back to this place.
Don't forget to write me that.
All right.
We'll see you on Sunday. And now he says, I want to change. When I get out, everything's going to be different. It's not going to be the same way. And I want to believe him, but if he comes back out here, to the same place, he's just going to end up in the same situation again. And he's just going to end up being in jail for the rest of his life. I'm still in the gang, but I'm trying my best to do something for myself to better my life. I want to go back to school, but what's stopping me from going to school is that the schools are the places where, I can go to they're in different neighborhoods, they're different territory gangs we don't get along with, and I can't go up there.
You know, a lot of the kids want to go to school. They just can't cross 3 or 4 different gangs to get to school. You know, what's the chances out of it? You know what I mean? Of making it every day. You know, they ain't good.
There's nothing really I could do. I wake up in the morning, clean up, help my mom with the kids for a while, and just watch TV or I'm on the phone. I get bored of it. It makes me feel like I can't do anything for myself.
See my neighbor's baby. You're not gonna be from Little Valley, huh? No, you're not.
I want to show my parents and I want to show everybody else that, you know, not all gang members, you know, have to end up dead or, you know, in jail or on drugs, you know, that they can do something for themselves. And I want to change the way I am.
When we come back, we'll see how this new generation of Los Angelinos plans to change their city and themselves.
Don't go, don't go, don't go, don't go.
Let me explain something to you in plain English.
In April of 1992, the Rodney King verdict sparked riots in several cities, but South Central has by far the most rebuilding to do. And the residents of South Central realize they will have to do most of the work themselves. What other lessons were learned from the LA riots? Did anything good come out of the violence and destruction?
The people in Los Angeles, from what I saw on the TV as well as being in the community and helping out, is that people kind of came together, which I hadn't seen in a long time.
We did give a message to the white man that we ain't gonna take no more of this. So now we think they heard us and we might take a little more action to make the situation not happen again.
In the wake of the Rodney King verdict and the ensuing violence, Sergeant Stacey Kuhn retired to write a book on his side of the story. Controversial LA Police Chief Daryl Gates resigned amid public outcry.
Gates must go! Gates must go!
He is now an LA talk show host.
This is Daryl Gates, and I'm going to use the battering ram and the chokehold on whoever that is.
New Police Chief Willie Williams is instituting a series of community outreach programs to improve relations between the police and the hood.
I fully understand and realize the concerns, the worries, the needs, and most importantly, the love and affection that each and every one of you have for this city and this outstanding police department.
There's a lot of positive things that are happening now. A lot of different type of approaches are being made with the community and the community towards us.
We got involved because we're all in the same game.
Several days after the riots, Crips and Bloods from 3 of South Central's largest housing projects gathered together to celebrate a newly declared truce.
What I'm happy about now that, the majority of these black gangs starting to realize that we all black, and that, man, it's real idiotic for us to turn around, continue to be trying to hurt one another. We need to go on and try to love one another.
Of the environment.
When my son was born, when he came out, it's like I had something to live for. It's like the rebirth of me too. It's like now I got something to live for. Now I got somebody I got to look out for. I got somebody I got to take care of. I got somebody that's gonna be looking up to me. Where am I gonna be in the pen, or am I gonna be dead unless some other man raised my child? Or am I gonna be here for my own son?
I look up to my mom a lot, and I guess her being a role model, maybe to other people it might be like, well, your mom was a gang member and everything like that, but the way I look at it is like, I look at her and I see all the mistakes she made and how she's living now, and I say to myself, I'm not gonna be like that. I'm gonna do something better for myself.
You got to live and learn. You got to live and learn.
Even if Yvette does get her diploma, there's no guarantee she'll get a job after she graduates. While it's hard for America's white high school grads to find work, it's even harder for minorities. Blacks and Latinos face a 26% unemployment rate.
Look at all the friendly faces. Look at all
The outlook for young people with college degrees, like Daryl Barker, is not much better. Over the last year, Daryl has faced a 12% pay cut.
People are saying, well, we don't have enough money for education, we don't have enough money for this, and I'm thinking, we're spending so much money on inmates, and we're spending, money on this and that, and I'm sitting here, I come to South Central every morning to do my best, and these kids are worth it.
Oh, we gotta keep the faith.
I don't plan on leaving South Central, I'm happy here, and I want to, try to make a difference.
In the end, it all seems to come down to personal choice and responsibility, as young people take matters into their own hands and face what is literally the challenge of their lives.
We can't keep pointing fingers and say, this is your fault, this is my fault, you should, all that kind of stuff. We can't do that anymore. Because, in the end, if you keep doing that, it's going to happen again. You've got to address the problem. What's really out there? What's the real problem?
If we only see it as one person's problem, we're not going to get to the bottom of it. We're just not. And that if everybody needs to figure out how did I contribute and how can I make a difference, and until everybody decides that, I don't care what you are, then this problem isn't gonna stop.
Free your mind.
Clearly, we all have to do our part and come together wherever we live. After all, in many ways, Los Angeles is a microcosm of America. In many ways, we all live in the hood.